Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to AVX Live. I'm Joe Gilderson, President of Corporate Audio Visual Services. And today we have a new time. We've never been at 3 o'clock before, so this is the first. But today's episode is all about something that every nonprofit feels, which is that fundraising isn't just about having a great mission. It's also about having a strategy you can actually execute. If you've ever thought to yourself, well, we have the passion, but we need a plan, this conversation is actually for you. So before we get started, let me just remind everybody about how you can find us. You can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. While you're there, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Anybody that's watching, please drop us a comment. We need you to be a part of the show because that's the fun part. And of course, if you've missed anything, just go back. You can check everything out on our YouTube channel, the other 126 episodes. And then if there's anything interesting, some sort of AI software or Alexis is going to chop it up and put it on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So now let's talk a little bit about what we're going to do today. We're going to discuss partners with purpose, and we're going to discuss thoughts on helping nonprofits succeed in strategy and execution. So let's bring some people in because we got a whole bunch of people. So first off, I'm going to welcome Charisse Jervis-Hill, founder and CEO of Events to Remember and PR to Remember.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm glad you're here, Charisse. I was getting lonely, so I'm glad you're here. Let's see who else we can find. How about Angela Simonello, founder and president of Simi Consulting?
Hello, Joe. Hello, Charisse. So good to see you.
Hello, hello.
Excellent, excellent. All right, let's keep this party going. Please meet Jeffrey Cabelli, founder and director of Good For You Productions.
No place else I'd rather be than right here.
We feel the same way. And last but definitely not least, hitting cleanup is Nick McElhenney, founder of Mac Tech Solutions. Hey, Nick. That's all he's going to say. All right.
Sure.
Don't forget to unmute yourself. Okay.
Why can't we hear you, Nick?
That's okay. He's going to be fine. He's got plenty of time to. There he is. He's back. Nick, say hello, please.
Hi.
I was concerned there for a second. Well, hey, look, I'm glad that everybody's here. Thank you for being a part of today's show. And listen, for everybody out there, in full disclosure, we've actually all been working together as a group for the last year to develop this new collaborative called Partners with Purpose. Mm-hmm. The idea was to bring like-minded partners who really shared the same mission of helping others together so we could design a system to help nonprofits kind of streamline their success. And so today we're going to use this platform to discuss some of the ways that our nonprofit friends can raise more money and do it in a more consistent way. So that's kind of the plan for today. So we're going to get right started now. So discussing partners with purpose, why don't we just tell everybody what each person's role is? So Nick, why don't you kick us off?
Okay, well, my role is I'm the web guy. So everything that a nonprofit needs on the internet, I work on their website, email infrastructure for email blasts and things like that, donor management systems, fundraising, anything for fundraising. I support their events if they need it, if they need registration for their events, everything like that. I can help strategize for all those little pieces that make it easy for your donors to give.
That seems like a lot. And they're all connected, I would imagine, too.
Yes, they are.
All right. Well, now I know we got a pretty good feel for that. Angela, why don't you tell us about your role?
Sure. So I am a fundraising strategist and a fractional development leader. So I'm the person who helps an organization raise more money now while also building the infrastructure so it becomes repeatable and less stressful over time. So what does that mean? That means that it could look differently depending on where the organization is. If there's no fundraiser, I can step in as interim or fractional leadership, so there's no delay in fundraising. If there's younger staff, I can provide mentorship and help with fundraising while they look for senior leadership. And then in my consulting lane, it's board development, accountability, major gift strategy, corporate partnerships, campaign planning, stewardship systems, and ROI tracking. So leadership can always see what's working and what isn't. So I love how this group comes together, with Charisse creating flawless experiences and operational excellence, Jeffrey ensuring the storytelling is emotionally compelling and donor facing, Nick strengthening the tech and digital pathways, and Joe, you elevating production and live experience. My job is to make sure that all of that aligns to one outcome: revenue growth, donor retention, and capacity building.
Very cool. Well, it makes you sound really smart too. So
Oh, I am. When I talk to myself, I'm the smartest person in the room.
I'm glad somebody's listening. All right, Jeffrey, why don't you tell us a little bit about your role?
I am going to be your video producer and storyteller. So, a lot of times, and it's not necessarily in this order, but Nick and Angela, a lot of what they do is building the support and infrastructure of the house. I may come and paint the house and make it look nice so that people want to come and see it, witness it, and spread the word about this said house, which is really your story, your mission, and what you do. The background is in documentaries and commercials. So we're just taking what we've learned in film school and experience in making movies and applying that into mission-based content.
I love it. I love it. You got to tell a good story, right?
And
tell a good story.
fundraisers need that.
Yeah, and not only do we need to tell a good story, like Angela alluded to, we need to tell an emotional story. It's not my line, but I use this all the time. Nobody cares about what you know until they know how much you care. So a lot of what we're doing in our messaging is really showing the impact and how much the people that are performing these services actually care. And we're hoping that that just generates more revenue for the cause.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. Well, Charisse, I don't want to leave you out of this. So please let everybody know your role in this.
Thank you, Joe. Don't leave me out. No, my job really is to a couple of things. One, and I think most importantly, is to really help the nonprofit organizations move the event forward, right? They're busy, they're doing their thing, and my team's job is really to help move it forward so we have a successful evening. So how do we do that? We're doing timelines. We're really checking in, making sure that everything is flowing and the event is moving forward, making sure that we're hitting our deadlines, making sure that all of our Partners with Purpose team members are working together to make sure that we move this event forward, successful, and then create some fun stuff to talk about it, some publicity, really share the good news, share what the organization is doing, build some excitement with these team members to really make everybody that FOMO, like I want to be at that gala. So logistics, moving it forward, keeping everybody on track, and then it's that night of fun. And then I'm going to kick that to you, Joe.
Oh, yes. The night of fun, I do get involved. There's no question. Hopefully it's a long time before the night of that I get involved, but still.
Oh, of course.
But yes, certainly our side, Corporate AV, is designing and planning and executing the actual event production itself. A lot of moving parts that go into that typically. But, if you guys have put it all together and laid it all out, usually we can close that up at the end and have everybody have a really successful experience. And I know that I feel great about it when that kind of thing happens. And knowing all of you, I'm sure you guys feel good too.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
We actually got a comment already.
Okay.
Would you guys like to see the comment?
Yeah,
From
sure.
one Michael J. Dardano, and it says coolness and awesome team. I mean, he's a frequent contributor to AVX Live.
Hey, Mike.
Mike.
Sometimes we have to restrict his comments. We have him on a 5-second delay, but
The dump button.
But yeah, well, you never know what might come out of his mouth. But either way. All right. Well, listen, let's now that everybody's got a sense of kind of who we are and what we're trying to do together. Here's the first question. And this will, I'll kind of guide you guys through. But when you look at fundraising results, what do you think is the bigger issue right now? Is it strategy or execution? and of course, why. Angela, let's start with you first, because you really start off the kind of this ball rolling in general.
I am a firm believer that you can't do anything without strategy, at least not that is reproducible. Is that a word? Anything that could be reproduced.
I don't know if this is the context for it, but it's a word, all right.
It's all about building the systems that are going to make it sustainable. So I always start with strategy, because strategy is the decision-making framework that prevents burnout and wasted effort. A lot of nonprofits are doing a lot: events, emails, social posts, grant submissions, but the results are inconsistent because the strategy isn't clear enough. So good strategy answers a few core questions. What are we trying to raise? From whom? What's the specific purpose? What's the best path to get there? And what matters just as much is what they're not doing, right? Because the focus is a fundraising superpower. Now, with that said, the reality is most organizations don't fail because they don't have ideas. They fail because strategy doesn't translate into execution. There's no rhythm, there's no accountabilities, there's no pipeline tracking. So it's inconsistent. So my approach is like building strategy with immediate operational benefits, right? So that's how I approach it, but it has to start with strategy.
Okay. I think that's very well said. And I think it's kind of the reason that all of us are sitting here together, because one translates into the other. Nick, what do you think is the bigger issue right now from your perspective?
I think I agree with Angela. Strategy on my end. A lot of the things in a nonprofit's website that are easily enhanceable, like ability to give donations quickly and easily. Hey, Apple Pay and Google Pay are new now. Not really that new, but they're very common now, and most nonprofits can't even accept them. You think somebody can get off their butt on the couch to give a donation if they have to go get their credit card, all that stuff? Things that are that simple just to add, so that all of Angela's strategy and getting the word out there, getting the touch points and all that will easily translate into dollars, instead of there being that sticky point of how do I give? So there's that portion of it. There's also the execution. If they do have these ideas, do they have the people in place that can do it? Small nonprofits do not have the web team to do it. That's where someone like me comes in, or their website is on an older platform. So sometimes it's easier just to upgrade so we can have those easy to use donation infrastructure and things like that.
I got it. It sounds like what you're saying is that everything really needs to work together.
Yep.
From website, registration, pay portals. I mean,
yep.
I would imagine that that's pretty much all day for you. It's making these things work together.
Pretty much, it's pretty much all this stuff has to work together. We have to be involved in every aspect of the promotion process for their fundraising. Whether it be we're sending out an email blast. Okay, well, how are we accepting your donation? What is your call to action? What kind of registration form are we setting up for your event? Things like that.
Nick, I just want to let you know we're accepting all forms of payment here on AVX Live as well.
Well,
okay,
that's great. I mean,
especially bags of money.
You did most of the work leading up to this, Joe. You need some payment.
Yeah, and you just solicited somebody, Joe.
Yeah.
So you might want to come to my side.
Yeah.
You might want to become a fundraiser.
Who knows? Hey, Charisse, why don't you tell us your perspective on strategy or execution?
So both, but strategy comes first, right? We need a roadmap. We need a plan, and building in all of these pieces, everything that Nick talked about. How are making it easy for our donors to make a donation. I think we always start with what we call our next step timeline, which is like a full production schedule from the day a client is contracted till the night of their event, really post-event, like some of the wrap-up duties, and building in that strategy so that way we have a successful execution. I mean, we actually have strategy meetings that lead up to the event. That's one of the tools that we use to help move the event forward. Just really being accountable to each other, making sure that we're checking off all of these boxes that are on our next step timeline that gets us to execution and a successful outcome at the end. So they're really kind of a part A and a part B that really kind of work together for that part C of really closing it and making it a success. So
I got it. So starting with a roadmap seems to be the beginning.
yeah,
And
and
it
building
sounds
in,
like that's everybody.
yeah, and building into the pieces like Angela's strategy, building that into the next step timeline, building in when we're building the registration page, when that's going live, when the e-blasts are going out, what topics, what are we going to talk about? What are these e-blasts talking about? When are we starting the filming dates? All of that stuff is in the overarching, like that's our beginning to get us to execution.
Well,
So if
I
you
know when
put-
you guys give that to us, it's really helpful. And then we know kind of how it's all going to work together. So, Angela?
That's what I love about what we're presenting is that, I find, look, nonprofits are beholden to reach their short-term annual goals. It's hard for them to think long-term strategy, particularly if they're on the smaller or the mid-size. So, and when they don't have enough money to hire the right staff, right, with fringe and everything else, they end up seeking us out individually. But collectively, not only is it a cost savings, but we're able to strategize collaboratively to bring the organization to a level that they didn't even realize they could get to because they haven't had this kind of power team behind them. So I just want to say that I know we've been talking about it for a year, but I think it's important for people to realize that we're basically an extension of their staff. So it's not so much event related because Charisse does PR all year long, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's events throughout the year. Nick, IT isn't a one-time thing. It's something that has to keep going. Jeffrey, the way you work is amazing because you split it up. You get the B-roll, you get the interviews, and you always do more to allow us or my clients to do extra video without additional cost. And Joe, you're always amazing at events. I mean, you can't go anywhere without seeing you and your staff. And your events go off without a hitch every time. So with our experience collectively, our knowledge of the community, our own individual resources, and what we bring us to the table, both individually and as a team, I think that's what this community needs, is to really be considerate about what their immediate needs are and their long-term needs, and how we can give them what they need to elevate their organization so they become less reliant on the pitfalls that they're seeing now, like government funding. I'm not saying that we can make up government funding because that's tens of millions of dollars, but there's creative ways for organizations to elevate their brand, bring in additional dollars. That's not a heavy lift on them, that allows us to help them to do that. So I would be remiss in not saying that out loud on this podcast, because I really do think that's our differentiator.
Yeah, and helping them achieve the unrestricted funds, which is what's really, really needed
100%.
right now,
100%.
Yeah.
Okay. These are all good points. That's why everybody's here, because we got to get this message out there and try to help people. Hey, Jeffrey, I didn't come to you on this piece. So strategy or execution?
I'll answer it this way. Because I'm really the execution guy. That sounds terrible without context. But I will execute a strategy. But what I will also tell you is in the past, I have executed a very bad strategy, and it didn't matter how well I executed a bad strategy. That was bad. So strategy, just like when making a movie, if you don't have a good script, you're not going to make a good movie from a bad script. The strategy is essentially our script to maximize fundraising efforts. So without a good strategy, execution it's hit or miss at that point. So strategy, that's the base. We started this conversation even talking about infrastructure. So it's always the bones of the house that you're building that's going to make it last. So it's got to be strategy.
Okay. I like the movie reference though. that you need a good script. And it really goes hand in hand with Sharice was saying about roadmap and what Angela's talking about. That's the starting point. And, I know from our sides, I see both as a challenge depending on, the group and the event. And some groups have the wrong plan. Other groups plan wrong, but, most are pretty good. But there's always ways to improve. And I think it's because they're disconnected in some capacity. And I know that's really why we started talking, a year ago is, hey, how can we connect the dots for people and streamline this a little bit? Because there are some, proven ways to make this work better. And I think that's our goal.
That's right.
Yeah.
So if somebody was going to say, all right, well, we need a strategy, we need a fundraising strategy, like where do we start? Angela, where do they start?
So the first thing I always want is clarity and commitment on just a few decisions that unlock things quickly. So what's the revenue target and what's the why now? So not vague, specific. What are we funding? What does success look like? And why does it matter this year? Because donors need to see outcomes. Who are we prioritizing? Too many nonprofits try to fundraise from everyone and end up fundraising to no one ineffectively. So who are our major givers? Who's in our corporate pipeline? Foundations, community, alumni. It's identifying those that can make lead gifts and take it from there. And then what's the offer in the pathway? What are you inviting people to invest in? And what's the capacity reality? Like who owns it internally? To Nick's point earlier, who is the staff? So when somebody says we need a fundraising strategy, if their answers to those questions are not clear, the strategy starts there. It's okay, we're going back to basics. That barometer, those questions are my barometer to figure out where the client is and what they think is where they need to go. So then it becomes a conversation of, are we heading in the right direction with the right path? Or does the path need to change? Or does the core mission need to change? Or not the core mission, the core programs need to change. So again, it's the strategy, because how do you do anything without knowing the answers to those questions? No more than Sharice can do an event without understanding where it is, or you can do an event without understanding what the AV needs are, or Jeff or Nick. So yeah, at the end of the day, you're always going to hear me say that. Strategy, strategy, strategy.
All right. But so we're starting with clarity and commitment. That seems to be the beginning point for most of your discussions.
Yes.
Excellent. All right, Nick, where do we start? Where do we start at your side?
Well, the most important thing is what the website needs to support whatever your fundraising is. Is it a capital campaign? Is it an event? Is it end of year appeal? We need to know what the website needs in order to support it. So are we going to have, is it a kids related thing and we're going to have lots of pictures? Is it a new building? Or are we going to be doing floor plans and walkthroughs and things like that? So we need to know what we're raising for, why we need the money, and what the website's going to do to support it. We need to know this early and not 3 days before the campaign gets launched. So that way we can build out what's needed. We can, if we need a microsite for it, we can build a microsite if your sites can't handle it. Things like that, where your strategy on Angela's side of all the fundraising aspects and what we're looking to do and what money we need to raise and everything that trickles down to me being able to show your mission, show what you have going on, and easily collect money. Once again, we're back to the same thing. I say that over and over again because so many nonprofits don't make it easy to give to them.
And that's imperative.
Yeah.
Because you'll lose people.
Yeah.
As you should lose people, right? I mean, if you're not very good at your job, you shouldn't succeed. And if they're not good at their strategy, their execution, they're not going to succeed. And I think as a whole, we can help them solve this problem. Sharice, what do you think of the first few decisions on both the planning side and the PR side? And maybe one starts before the other. I mean, tell us.
The first thing is really, and Angela touched on this, like the first thing when I meet with a new client, I want to go over the goals. Like, why are we having this event? Right? Not because, oh, we do it every year and, why are we having this event? What are our overarching goals? What do we want to accomplish? Who do we want in the room? What do we want to raise? How are we going to get there? Like, these are all pieces that we then use when we get to the point of building the run and show. Circling back to the goals, is this program really elevating this organization? Is it really telling their story? Do people leave and they get a really clear understanding about this nonprofit? How many of us have gone to an event and you've sat there for hours and then you leave and you're like, I'm not really sure what they do? Like, I mean, we all have been there. We all have been there. So those are things that, like, my team and I, we really look at, are we telling the client story? When people leave, are they pumped? Like, do they know more about this organization than when they walked in this room? And they should. And circling back to the goals. So that is really, like, that's how we build every single piece, starting with the goals. And sometimes clients are not fully sure, and it's our job to kind of like pull that out. And then each of us collectively can tie in those goals into everything that we're doing. So we want a website. How are people going to donate? This is what we want to raise. Like, that's the information that then we can go back to Nick. Nick, this is what they want to raise. This is what we want to do. Here's the strategy. Storytelling. They have this new building that does, so many kids come for homework after school. And, Jeff, let's tell that story. That night of, Joe, we got to make sure that on those screens, the lower thirds are built in with the color scheme, and Angela's starting from the beginning with that fundraising strategy. So it really is taking those goals and just rocking it out, making sure that we're hitting them.
So you're starting with the why. Why are we doing this? What are we trying to promote? Hitting all those big questions.
Yeah.
It sounds like you can take the how after that, but the why and the what, they really have to answer.
They do, because we want to, and not just for me and for all of us, right? It's making sure that when people walk in that room, people come to this event, it's a reflection of that organization. It's not me, it's not Angela, it's not you. It's when they come in, this is XYZ organization. Like, they know it, they feel it, it's them. So it's our job to take all of that and make sure that we are really showcasing these organizations.
It's a good point. It's a good point. And, when you're talking about storytelling, Jeffrey, how do they get started from your side? Where do you begin?
So amazing just listening to everybody. And I understand why we are all in alignment, because we all have the same philosophy. For anybody that doesn't know who we are, it is for me to know these people so well and to hear how you all are saying the same things that I would say. So my answer is going to echo in a lot of ways, and I'm going to get a little bit preachy here because this is really good life advice as well as nonprofit advice. This is my core philosophy. Anything you do in life should answer two questions: what and why. That's literally what I start my day with. That's what I start a meeting with. It answers and motivates everything that you need to do. So even in a personal sense, if you want to lose weight, the losing weight is the what, but why do you want to do it? Answering that why allows the what to happen. Like, that's really important for what we're talking about right now. The why is crucial. So when we talk about nonprofits, it's what do you do and why do you do it? So we help, I'm just trying to think of a random example. Like, we help feed the homeless. Why? Like, that why answers everything and how you tell that story. So if it's why do we feed the homeless? Because there are so many, and and you can start to answer those questions, and that will help you, I guess, articulate and convey the storytelling, the video, the audio message, the copywriting message. All of that messaging is really sourced from you answering your what and your why. So again, crucial. I'm so glad that you all said that. It's really amazing that we continue to say the same things and kind of work together and overlap. But this is just, for me, sorry to just be so transparent right now. This is like such a great proof of concept for us. Like, I just want to say again that I just love you all, because you'll have the right philosophy, the right message, and the right heart. So just all of this makes sense. Sorry, I hope I didn't eat into your time, Joe. I just went on a little rant there.
It's okay, Jeffrey. I don't need any time. I'm good here. But you know, the what do you do and why do you do it? I think if a group can't answer those questions, they have a bigger problem. So, because that
Bingo.
is, I know that's one of the things that I see. Sometimes the message gets lost. You know, we're talking about napkins instead of something important. Like a napkin's a napkin. It's cool. Whether it's purple or pink or white, I don't think is going to change the message that needs to go out to, you know, to the audience from that group. So I think you guys are all kind of echoing each other, and it really starts with the why. Why are we doing something? And that's how we all got here. Why would we want to pool resources, so to speak? Well, because we think we can make a difference. I think that's the simple version,
I'm
right?
glad you said that. That's true.
And
We don't think we can make a difference. We know
we
we
know we can.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We-
And I don't even think there's any, like, you know, when we say, well, some people do it well and some people don't, right? Or some organizations do it well and some people don't do it as well. Everybody's heart's in the right place for the most part,
100%.
right? So it's not that they're trying to do it bad. They just likely don't know, or they're just running, right? Trying to get through day by day to support their programming, which, again, not to sound like a commercial, but it's the whole reason we even started talking about this group, right? Because we can fix that holistically. With Charisse designing an event or a campaign that supports revenue, not just logistics, Jeffrey telling a story that becomes intentional and donor-centered, which is absolutely fundamental for fundraising. With Nick, it's digital giving pathways to make it easy for the donors, and CRMs with workflows so that work becomes more efficient. Joe with the production quality, elevating events and experiences. So the execution becomes tight, consistent, and designed to convert before, during, and after the campaign. So again, the differentiator is the continuum, right? It's like you only have to speak to the back office when something's going on, but if not, there is strategy and collaboration going on all the time, because it's important to us, as it's as important to the organization, to move the needle, to impact more
Absolutely.
people. The money comes.
Can somebody answer that phone? I mean, what is that noise?
Oh, I don't hear it.
I mean, I have everything on do not disturb. So clearly,
No,
it's not me.
It's not you, but you bring up a good point, and you know you're leading into execution, and that's where we want to go. But I do want to take a question that we had come up once again from our friend Mike Dardano. Are you seeing nonprofits that don't receive government money getting pressure from their donors that are being asked to donate to nonprofits? Maybe they've never heard of them before, or because of the current cuts. So I think that's a question. So are we seeing people that used to get government money receive new pressures? And, you know, I think, Charisse, why don't we start with, can you answer this? This is out of my area in general. So I just want to see if you could had a response to this.
I think it's yes, right? I feel like if they were getting government funds and now that is being cut, there is more pressure on these organizations to find additional revenue. As Angela mentioned, is a gala, if you're getting government funding of X, millions of dollars, right? This annual gala is not going to cover all of that revenue. But having it and really using the fact that you are losing these funds, like, don't make that a secret. Talk about it. That's in your storytelling. We're losing these programs. We need additional funds so that we can keep these programs going, and build that into your overarching campaign. That's what we're seeing in events. So, I had someone ask me the other day, like, with these government cuts, are you losing events? And I'm like, no, we're busy. Like, I feel like we're even busier now because clients know that they have to do these events and they need to raise additional funds. So, and I want to go back to, if I can for 1 minute, something that Angela mentioned, right? About these nonprofits, they're doing the work of God, right? They are doing some amazing, amazing work. Events, production, video, that's not their lane, nor should it be their lane. I think it makes sense to hire professionals that can take that off of your plate, that can elevate that so you could focus on what you're really great at. So that's something that I always like to say. People talk about, yes, there is a cost to our services, but clients make it up more so because we're really help elevating their event, and we're freeing them up to do what they do, work on those programs, talk to their donors, cultivate them, and that's really where the magic happens.
I heard
No,
an
that's a good
interesting
answer.
stat the other day, and I'm sure you guys have the same stats, but because I was looking for my own company, but the metric is, if you have an internal fundraiser, for every dollar you spend, that fundraiser will bring in 4. For every dollar you spend on a consultant, a fundraising consultant, it brings in 27. There's a significant difference,
Wow.
right? And it does have something to do with the level of staff, right?
Mhm.
So Jeffrey's a little more hard to put ROI around, but I know working with Jeffrey, and his why is about helping, that his videos pull the heartstrings way more than I've seen in the past, right? Because he's so strategic and so committed to that. Sharice, you're the same. Joe, you're the same. So are you, Nick. So again, I think that's what makes the difference. Sorry, I'm taking it away.
And that video that Jeff is producing, right before, for me as the planner looking at like logistics and flow of this run of show, I need a kick butt. I didn't say the A word I was going to, but I caught myself.
This is an R-rated show. It's okay.
Oh, put Dardano back on then.
No. He's X. He's beyond R. He's NC-17.
But I need a kick-ass video right before that paddle race. I need an impact speaker that is going to really tell that story. And then once they raise the paddles, or if we're doing text to donor, whatever we're doing, I need that technology to work. And I need the video played on time, and the overarching strategy of this event from the very beginning is that Angela piece. So it really is. It's a whole, that night is a combination of all of these pieces put together.
Well, since we're starting to talk about execution now, let's why don't we look at what are some of the typical mistakes? Because we want people to really be able to take something away from this conversation. So, Angela, typical mistakes you might see, maybe people can avoid.
Yeah, the most common mistakes, it's not about effort, it's about structure. I see too many disconnected tactics. Like, let's do a gala, let's do an email blast, let's do a social media campaign. And then there's no thread, right, to bring the donor along the journey. It's too disconnected. Unclear ownership, right? Everybody's involved, but nobody's accountable. Weak follow-up and stewardship, I cannot say that enough. Like, people get inspired, they give once, and then they don't hear from them again until there's an ask. And that's where you lose your donors. And it takes a lot more money to get a new donor than it does to keep a donor. And then underpackaging the opportunity. Sponsorships or major gifts are presented like transactions instead of strategic partnerships with outcomes and visibility. And at the end of it, there has to be measurement. You have to know if it worked or not, so that you can pivot or expand or change or elevate, whatever it is, or keep things just the way they are because it's working. But there's got to be something at the end of it that assesses whether it worked or not. That's where I see the mistake the most.
All right. Well, it's a really good point about structure over effort, because we are, as you guys have mentioned, we know they're doing amazing work.
Yeah.
And that their hearts are in the right place. It's never a question.
Yeah.
But structure, a lot of times the structure is missing. So it's a really good point. And they're working their asses off to try to do something too. So you kind of feel bad, but you're like, it's like the dog chasing its tail. Like, it just doesn't work. You need a little bit of a path. Nick, what do you see as typical kind of mistakes on the IT side?
On the fundraising side, don't wait so long to contact your person that manages your website. If you're doing a fundraising event, an appeal, a person to person, a capital campaign, if Giving Tuesday is the beginning of December, if you're reaching out to your web person the Friday before, you're a month too late. Okay, be ready. Give them time. Give them time to get your ideas down. Make special pages, things like that. If you don't have a registration page set up until your invites hit the mail, which happens to me all the time. Somebody said, "Oh, we dropped our invites today. Can you set up the registration page?" This is a gala, your biggest fundraising event of the year, and you gave us a day to set up your registration page. Like things like that just a little bit more planning. Your web people have a completely different schedule and things take longer than you think. So give them some time. And they also a lot of them have done way more registrations, appeals, things like that than you do in a year. They might do 20 and 30 in a season. You're doing 1. Okay. So when you reach out to them, they may have ideas to make things easier to collect money, easier to show your impact, things like that will actually move the needle a little bit instead of the same thing every single year. Okay. Let your people who do this all the time give you some recommendations, and it will help you a lot more on your forward facing, like online presence.
I think that's amazing advice, because I'm sure you get a lot of last minute requests for things that are really important.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I have been told at least 5 times a year I get our invitations have dropped. We need a registration page for our gala. It's one of your largest fundraising things of the year.
yeah.
Okay. And it's like, you couldn't have told me 3 weeks ago, things like that.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah. That is what we would refer to as an avoidable mistake.
Yes.
And we always want to try to avoid those things.
People like Charisse would be in contact because it's part of her planning. Okay. But the companies that have internal people that have 1,000 other things going on in the development just don't think, oh, it'll get done. They don't think that it has to get done. And it takes time and things like that. It's just a registration page, but a blank registration page, it's just like, here, give us your money. Doesn't really do much. You need to show, like Angela said, this shouldn't be transactional. It should be partnerships. You need to show what signing up for your gala and coming is actually going to do. And just a blank page where you say, here, give us $5,000, give us $7,000, and you get a few things in a journal and some things, doesn't always turn out right. Have some videos about impact, have some images about the people you're helping. Make it more of a partnership than just a transaction. And
I love it.
The time to think about that is not when the invites are already in the mail.
So I think that's part of what we're hoping to help organizations with, right? Strategize their annual plan so that we can back into what they need to when the time is right, rather than being reactive.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Charisse, what are the typical mistakes that you're seeing?
Everything that the two of them just said. I mean, timing. It's
okay. You're done. No problem.
It's literally, I'm so serious. Most of it is timing. Like if we follow our next step timelines, and look, we're managing multiple events at one time, right? But we know that it is our job to keep our clients on task, and it's all about the timing. Like same thing. Nick's talking about, oh, my invitations drop. Could we set up our webpage? Like that webpage should have been done before that invitation even went to the freaking printer. Like that should be done and not live at that moment until you're ready to make it live. But like that should be done. So a lot of it is timing. If you're doing things last minute, if you're doing things too late, it's like it's like you missed a boat. Like when those sponsorship packages haven't gone out, it's really a lot of it. Everything that we're saying in different little elements, but it all is timing.
Yeah.
And it creates a tremendous amount of stress for the team.
Yeah.
If they're running to catch up. Tremendous amount. And that trickles down and it trickles up.
Yeah.
And stress
And it's
probably
hard with
leads to
fundraising.
mistakes.
Of course
Yeah.
it does. Of course. And you're
Yeah.
never going to put out your best product if you're doing it under pressure because you haven't taken the time to clarify the strategy, which means that they're doing what they've always done. And if you do what you always did, you're going to get what you always got. So when somebody comes and says, I want to elevate my event, but I don't want to change a thing, that becomes challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Jeffrey, your side. What are the typical kind of mistakes you see?
Going to say the same thing in a different way again. I'm going to do the same thing that everybody else is doing. But I just also want to say that I hope it's being conveyed how big all of your hearts are. And the reason why I say that is because the biggest mistake I think that people make when working with myself and perhaps all of you is looking at us as a service rather than a partner.
Partner.
Yeah. So, my carpet is dirty. I need a service. Let me call the carpet cleaner and he'll just come and do it. We're not really doing that. We are actually a partner with you because we are going to invest literally our heart and our mind into your effort, your project for a certain amount of time. And we are going to carry the message and your cause with you. Like we will be with you the entire time. And we will take to heart the impact that you're making. So whether it's an event, whether it's shares, whether it's donating, we will feel the impact you're making or don't make. So it's in our best interest because we care so much to make it happen. Like we don't want to see you fail. We don't want to see you fall short of a goal. What we want is to help you reach and impact as many people as possible because believe it or not, even though we don't do what you do, it's just as important to us.
Yep. Well said, Jeffrey.
Yeah, for sure.
See, that's why you were in that, anchor man type of role because you really just clean that thing up.
So weird.
I'm
I wish I
calling you
could tell you
Ron
where it
Burgundy
comes
from
from.
now on.
Okay, Joe, Mr. AV guy, answer the question.
I feel like you get the most mistakes. Joe.
What are people like on your? I'm going to take over because you haven't been answering the questions.
Yeah.
So, what on the AV side, an event, things like that, are the biggest mistakes?
I'm going to answer for Joe. I know a couple.
Oh.
Let Joe answer. He's been quiet.
Hold on, here you go.
Joe's going to say not sending in your run and show early enough, which we do, but I know that's a pain point for your team. Not sending videos over early enough so that they could be tested, not doing an AV run through, and then I'm kicking it back to you. But those are some that I know that, that Joe needs. His team needs to really.
I also know that Joe loves focusing on the decisions around what kind of napkins would be the event. That's like one of his favorite conversations.
I don't even eat dinner without calling him first and asking him about it.
I have like the cheapest napkins in the universe at home. I'm like, whatever, I'm throwing it away. Like, who cares?
I mean, I like a nice napkin, guys, but that's not the focus.
Right.
No. I look, actually, I'd like to touch on part of what you finished up with, Jeffrey, is about thinking of us as partners, not just transactional services. I tell our team every single year we have our own meeting. And I say, look, we're not just hands, but we're hearts and we're minds too. Like I want the whole package. I don't just want you to lug stuff from point A to B. I want you to think about what you're doing and who you're doing it for. And that makes a very big difference in how we approach our work. It's the same thing about thinking of it as a long-term relationship, not just a night, which happens in like a hotel. Like, somebody else is coming in tomorrow.
Yep.
No big deal. And to us, it's like, no, we gotta work with them like 4 more times this year. And I think they missed the mark a little bit on this. And we could do that better. Hey, why don't we talk about that afterwards? But the biggest thing that I see as a mistake that could be avoided is the thinking of something as it's just this. I just need a microphone. I just need to play a video. I just need a website. I just need a consultant. Because it's that just mentality that it undervalues what you're actually trying to do. And I think that's where people hurt themselves. And part of it's the structure, part of it's the timeline, part of it's everything that each one of you said. But it's because they don't know that it's important yet. But I will tell you when they find out that it's important. That night, when that auctioneer goes to speak into a microphone and nobody can hear them, and people walk out of the room, or they stand at the back of the room because they're not comfortable and they haven't eaten all day, that's when you see the results of all of those months. And a lot of it could have been addressed earlier. And to me, that's the whole idea of having each one of us work together. And that's why we're trying to cover it from every different angle, because that's what partners having a purpose would be, right? Is trying to help these groups that are already doing amazing things in the community, trying to help them just execute that fundraising piece a little bit better. And, you know, I'm happy to be doing this with you guys. So this is a good thing. So hopefully I answered your question, Nick. I mean, you were tough. You were a tough interviewer.
I love that Nick was tough. Nick got tough. I don't think I've ever seen you get that tough. But I love that you touched on about the microphone, because I've had that conversation, right? When you're working with a smaller nonprofit, it's like, oh, I don't want to pay that. That's too much. It's like, can the DJ do it? And it's like, this is a huge moment. Like, we're asking for donations. People need to be able to hear. They need to, you know, so that's the expertise of not just letting clients do what they want to do. At the end of the day, they're the boss, right? But we have a duty to be honest and let them know that these are the best practices and this is going to make a big difference. And Jeff, to tie in what you said, we're like, I think of with all of our clients, like we're an extension of their team. Like we become like, we're not just, you know, we're just providing this service. Like we are a part of their family at that time. Like we are a part of their team. We're an extension of that team. So, yeah.
No, very, very well said. These are all good points, is that we're extensions. I have one more kind of point, because we're kind of getting closer to our time here, but this is about how to make it a repeatable kind of process and experience. How do nonprofits put systems in place to make success repeatable? I mean, we don't want it to be just one night, right? We want it to be a much bigger scenario than one night. So are there CRMs? Are there playbooks? Are there follow-up schedules, like stewardships? I mean, what do they have to put in place? And I'll come to each one of you, but Angela, why don't you start this piece off?
So I think after an event, one of the most important things that you need to do within 24 to 48 hours are call the key people that supported you in the room that evening, particularly if they brought friends or contacts. So either the phone or handwritten notes are always good ways to keep them engaged. But then you need to touch point with them, you know, for the next couple of months about what that gala or event or fundraising initiative impacted. So now you're reaching out about impact and what difference their gift made. So they understand about the organization from being at the event or through the fundraising initiative or however they found, whatever they participated in. But you're thanking them appropriately after, and then you're following up with impact before you ask again. And that's where I think nonprofits, really small ones, because they're put upon with little staff and a lot to do, don't have time or miss the boat on. But what they really don't have time for is looking for new donors. So taking the time to make a call or a handwritten note or create that impact report is actually going to lead to more money than if you asked for them a gift again, because you're going to get attrition. Because people want to know where their money's going, particularly younger donors. And that's the trend that we're seeing.
No, that's excellent, because just like in any for-profit business, it is much harder to find a new client. In this case, we're referring to a client as a donor, than it is to retain an existing one. So it's a really a great point. We have a blank chair there, so I'm not going to go to her right now. But Nick, why don't you give us a sense of how people can make this repeatable?
Okay, repeatable. You have to have systems in place, and when you're small and new and everything, maybe a Excel spreadsheet might be a good way to track your donors, but you grow out of that very fast. Okay, and you need some kind of donor management system, whether it's something basic or something very advanced according to your needs. Okay. That will allow you to see how much everybody's giving, have an easy way to contact them, be able to put notes on everything they've done. Keep those notes, keep every interaction that you've had with them. Know what your donors are doing. Okay. Be warm. Okay. Like Angela said, keep in touch. Don't just send them those canned follow-up emails. Send your key donors personal emails, personal handwritten notes, things like that. So you need a system that you can track all of that. You can see what donors gave the most, what you have done in the past, what their response was. Okay, so you can over time figure out their personalities and what they need. Okay, to keep giving and keep part of your community. Other than that, of course, there's so many systems web-wise and everything like that, but everybody has a different need. Everybody, so that's something that we can discuss, like, at a case-by-case basis with the client.
But it sounds like the donor management system,
donor management
kind
system,
of the centerpiece.
Keeping track of everything is extremely important on the tech side.
Can I ask you a dumb question? Is there training that goes with how to use said donor management system?
They are good and evil. Okay, they have so much capability that some of them are impossible to use, and there's some that are easier than others. And that's part of choosing your system. You don't want something that's too big for you. You don't want something that's too small, and you want something that's easy to use, and you can bring somebody up to speed quickly with.
It feels like a Goldilocks reference.
And so I know Joe in CRMs, touchy subject. So
it's a little touchy. Yes.
So in fundraising, your CRM is your foundation for everything.
Yeah.
Like you slice, dice that database 100 different ways when you're looking like who you're going to reach out to and, what's our approach this year and that kind of thing. I'm only bringing this up to say that the system is critical. As critical is the person working in that system. Because Nick can set up a beautiful system, a beautiful website. Not that you build system, but you know what I mean. He can do all the right things, but garbage in, garbage out. Like it's not just a matter of data entry. That database, it needs to be run by somebody with critical thinking skills that understands that the way they're putting it in is in a way that's easy to pull out. Right? So again, strategy. Even with the database, there's strategy. Because then it becomes fundraising becomes easier over time and you raise more money because you're operating from structure, not scramble. I cannot stress that enough.
Structure, not scramble. I wish I had thought ahead to be ready to type that up. Structure, not scramble. But I was thinking about something else at that moment, so I blew it. But hey, Charisse, well, since this really kind of digs into the execution side and the follow-up execution, do you have kind of any thoughts on how to make it a repeatable success? And I'll let you take it.
Two quick things. I think one, your debrief. I hope everybody's having a debrief after their events. Taking those notes from the debrief and really building that into your timeline for next year. So if we did this a little bit late or had we started sponsorship outreach a little early, whatever it is, I like to take that data and incorporate that into the planning timeline for the following year, because you get a lot of good nuggets that'll really help elevate the event. And I'm just going to say, like, my timeline, like where we're doing certain things, how we're building in the overarching goals. So I think those two things, building in as much data. Even Angela mentioned about, the donor outreach, or Nick, one of you mentioned about the donor outreach, building that into the timeline. So really having a complete production schedule of everything that we're doing on a day-to-day, week by week, month by month to get to that event, I think will really set you up for success.
I think that's pretty well said. I love the idea of the debrief. 90% of our events or more do not do a debrief.
Yeah.
And we keep our own notes. We call them show call reports. We have pictures, we have notes. And then everybody says, how do you remember this stuff? That's how we remember this stuff. Like there's no other way. Just one thing to add on to the debrief thought. I think people have to be honest with themselves, because, they're trying to please a lot of people a lot of times with boards and many other people involved, heavy donors. That's a challenging political environment. I don't think there's a question. But
absolutely,
you have to be honest with what really worked or what didn't work. I think that's critical. But listen, I don't want to forget my storyteller. Jeffrey, come on. Tell us what playbooks we got.
He's also patient. Yeah.
So
here comes the hard sell. My answer to this is to hire us, because we didn't form just because we like each other and because we're all good at what we do, which is also true. We actually feel that this can help an organization have consistency as they're potentially learning new things as the years go on, because government policies change, there's turnover, there's just always something inconsistent in a nonprofit. A lot of times the things that stays the same is the leader, but everything under that person is changing. And we would just like to be the consistent entity that just, again, is with you the entire time. And one of the reasons that's really important is when you try to review your own notes, if it's a different team in 2 years, what are we comparing things against and to? So, Partners with Purpose, if we were there for a few years, we could actually compare year to year what worked and what didn't, and elevate the things that did and maybe lose the things that don't. And so that's just a hard sell, because, none of us need to form this Partners with Purpose. The reason we are doing it is because we feel that this is going to help you the most. So hire us already.
Wow. Who knew? Who knew that? I think it was the pockets. That
and I think it's messed up. I've been staring at it the whole time. I have OCD, and I think it's a little crooked. I wish somebody told me.
It looks good.
It's rakish.
I'm not sure what that means.
It's like slightly askew. So
it's reproducible.
Whatever, man. Get a Bible.
Pocket square.
Bible. A dictionary. Oh my God, I did not say Bible.
Have a Bible. I don't have a dictionary, but I have a Bible. But
where's the jump button?
Anyway.
And Joe, the same thing, because you again, you have not answered that question. Just repeat success, because you see a lot. I mean, a lot of times you're doing the same event with the same like what I talked about. You're seeing things change, but you're the consistent thing. So what would you say is a good indicator of repeating success?
Well, I think that's why we try to keep so many notes and pictures and this and that. We kind of do all the investigative work ahead of time. We're asked about each venue. We actually know the details of most of the venues, and we turn over less. So the people who are planning the event turn over more. So a lot of times we're the only one who actually knows the event. Wow. And so it's helpful. And then I can say, hey, here's what you did last time. And here's some of the things we noticed that went really well. Here's some of the things that could have been improved. And, here's our thoughts. The challenge is if we're brought in too late. If we're brought in too late, none of that matters. That's just the reality. If they say, oh, well, we also want to stream this event, or we have a text to donate, or, we want people, they have to be able to, contribute to the auction on their phone. I would have told you that you shouldn't have gone to that venue. They don't have internet, especially for 300 people all at the same time. And I think those are the things, again, it's kind of just the when and the timing becomes really important. But I mean, there's a lot of little things. It's like do you have one of your volunteers or big donors lead the auction, or do you hire a professional auctioneer?
The latter.
Well, you're going to make more money if you hire the professional auctioneer, especially if you give them the guidelines and the structure and the timeline ahead. Yep. If you rely on them to make it themselves, they can go off the rails.
Yep.
And that's just as bad as not getting the money, to be quite honest, because you're going to be looking for another one. But if you give them that structure, and we have one conversation ahead of time. They show up, they rehearse something quick. Odds are it's going to go really well.
Mhm.
Whereas that doesn't always work out if it's a volunteer or someone who's never done it. I've seen many people freeze. I would not like to be in that situation. It makes every single person in the room uncomfortable,
Mhm.
especially me. I don't want to be in that room either. You know, like everybody, we just want people to succeed and do the best they can. And I think having the information ahead of time, having discussions, and the earlier you get kind of brought in is a good repeatable formula. And
Yes.
with a lot of our long-term clients, that's how it works.
Yeah.
You know, we're planning all of their events at once. So they say, hey, here's the dates. Or they're saying, we want to do this. You know what this event looks like. Where would be a couple of different places we could look at to see if it's a good fit for us? You know, because they do have to get approval from a lot of different people. So, I mean, there's other people that have to be considered, and we may not know the answers, but if we know how the program usually goes, we can say this is conducive to it. This place maybe isn't. And here's why, or maybe you change the format. But if you have that history, you have some notes and you can apply them properly is the way I look at it. But that's a good question, Jeffrey. You should start your own podcast. Let's we got to wrap this thing up. We're over an hour. This is like way past my bedtime and podcast time. So we're going to do one final, just like a quick lightning type of thing. You know, what is the most important thing a nonprofit could do in the next 30 days to improve their fundraising and success? Angela, go quick.
Hire us.
Okay. Would you like to add anything else?
What is the next thing they could do in the next 30 days? I think if they are not very clear on what their next step is and why, then they need to convene the senior leadership and the right stakeholders and consider what their core programming is for 2026, what it needs to sustain itself, and then strategize about the best way to do that. So I'd say in the next 30 days, pick a core program and put a strategy around it and then implement.
Okay. Core program. That seems like a good place to start no matter what anyways. All right. Nick, what could they do?
Take 20 minutes, sit down, look at your website, click everything, make sure the button, make sure things work, make sure your mission's there, make sure your vision's there, make sure people can donate. Okay. Make sure that the event you had 3 months ago, there's a picture or two on your site from it. Let people connect with your organization. Be warm. Okay. Don't just send out cold email blasts.
Good.
Connect with your constituency.
That's good, Nick.
Yeah.
That was really concise. I liked it. I'm going to go watch the recording after.
Not common for me to be concise. Usually I blabber a lot.
No, that's good. Charisse,
Hire
what can
us.
they do in the next 30 days?
Hire us. Secondly, I think firming up your goals. I think it's really, really important to think about the event goals. Why are we having this event? What do we want to accomplish? Who do we want in the room? Like really take 20 minutes and just jot that down, because that helps with clarity and that helps with building everything. So when you hire us, then we will take that data and we'll go and we'll run with it.
We love data. We like running. Well, we don't like running with data, but we run with data. I don't know. Jeffrey, next 30 days, what can they do?
Audit your content, your website, your strategy, your events. Step outside of yourself and look at yourself and ask yourself, would I donate to this mission based on the presentation? And if you can honestly look at yourself and say, yeah, we're good. I would write a check for $1,000 right now, then you're good. If you go, you know, my website looks a little off and I don't have videos like these guys and I don't even know what we do and why we do it. Well, then you do have to hire us.
Okay.
I mean, that's what's going to happen. If you're good and it's like anything else, if you don't need us, then you're good. If you're looking and if some of these questions have made you think that maybe you are missing the mark in some way, and it doesn't mean that you're bad at what you do. It just, we think about this all the time. Like, I'm going to go home tonight and probably bring up some of these conversations that I learned in the networking nonprofit this morning in front of my family and talk about it. So we live and breathe this stuff, and we think about this all the time. If you feel that you need help, give us a call.
Excellent. Excellent. And here, Nick, I'll jump in with my 2 cents as well. I think everybody in general from our nonprofit clients sees that they might do anywhere from 1 event to, let's say, 10 events in the course of a year. I know from the production side, we work on over 600 every year. So we've seen things that you're just not going to see. And I think if you engage your production partner, in this case, we'll refer to ourselves, with a general date, maybe it's not locked in yet, but a general time of when you want to hold it, and you have a general sense of a budget, a realistic budget, and that may need some conversation because you may not know what a realistic budget is to accomplish your goal. But if you get, said production partners 6 to 8, 9 months out in advance, you can determine those things pretty easily, and the whole process will go much smoother. And that's just the reality, because now you're open to all 600 events of ideas and execution and information and things that people are doing from all over the world that you would never know. And it's another reason to engage with the group. So I hopefully anybody final words, because we're going to wrap up in a second, but I like to think that we've covered a lot of ground today.
We just think this is a big year not to mess around. Like, this year is different and unique than other years. And maybe this is the year that you don't play games and you get serious.
Wow. So serious. It's the pocket square that makes him so serious.
Can't wait to fix it. I cannot wait to fix it.
My closing is keep changing the world. And if you need the support to help you do that, Partners with Purpose.
Yep.
Excellent. Excellent. That's really good. Well, listen, guys, this has been amazing. Thank you to our esteemed panelists today. Okay. Jeffrey, Nick, Angela, Sharice, you guys were wonderful. We appreciate all of the creativity and knowledge and experience that you guys bring to this. And I pretty much think that all of our guests just got the benefit of like a master class in fundraising. And that one's on the house. Okay. So, but listen, we're going to wrap up. So everybody, you know how to find us. Okay. You can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. While you're there, hit the like and subscribe button. And of course, anytime you want, drop us a comment, be a part of the show. Everybody, we're going to wave because we're saying goodbye now. Everybody wave, say goodbye. Bye-bye, ciao, ciao. See you next time.